are going to discuss about another part of this topic, blood pressure. Before this, we are discussing about the different components of blood vascular system. Then, before this, we are discussing about blood vessels, then about pressure created by the blood on the lateral walls of blood vessels, especially on the arteries, that is blood pressure. Pressure created by the blood on the lateral walls of vessels. That is the blood pressure. We know there are two events. One is the systolic and second is the diastolic event occurring per heartbeat in the cardiac cycle. The pressure created by the blood on the wall of artery at the time of ventricular systole, which is called as systolic blood pressure, and pressure exerted by the blood on the lateral wall of blood vessel during the ventricular diastole called as diastolic pressure, and which is measured in normal adult person, which is systolic pressure is 120 mmHg and diastolic pressure which is 80 mmHg, which is written in this manner: 120 of the 80 mmHg normally. And the difference between systolic and diastolic blood pressure is called as pulse pressure, which is about 40 mmHg. This blood pressure, which is measured with the help of this instrument called as manometer. We will discuss about deviations from normal blood pressure. Deviations means changes in the systolic and diastolic pressure. These deviations gives us idea about the malfunctioning of the heart or blood vascular system. These deviations from normal blood pressure due to the changes in blood volume. These deviations from the normal blood pressure, one reason is the change in blood volume. If suppose that there is a change in the blood volume, means increase in the blood volume, which will create pressure on the arterial wall. Means there is increase in the blood pressure. Second thing, if there is an accident, there is a loss of more blood, which will change the blood pressure. There is less blood pressure. Then atrial inelasticity, which is also called as arteriosclerosis, is the one reason to increase the blood pressure. At the same time, deviations from normal between. What happens? There is increase in the age of that person. There is less elastic membrane or the elasticity of the membrane of the atrial or blood vessel leads into this arteriosclerosis, which leads into increase in the blood pressure. Then atherosclerosis means due to deposition of clot or plug. The plug is formed from calcium ions, fibrous material and fat cholesterol, which increases blood pressure. When in some cases or in some persons there is a renal disease like kidney stone, which also increases blood pressure. The obesity also increases blood pressure. Then what about hypotension? Hypo means below. Normally, normal blood pressure is 120 of the 80 mmHg. If this blood pressure goes below 90-60 mmHg, the situation is called as hypotension, which is mostly observed due to the less blood volume. Then factors affecting the blood pressure. Which are the factors affecting the blood pressure? We will discuss some. Cardiac output. Suppose there is increased blood volume, cardiac output which increases, which creates blood pressure. Due to the plug in the blood vessel, which increases resistance, which increases blood pressure. If there is less volume, there is decrease in the blood pressure. Increase in the blood volume also increases blood pressure. Length and diameter. If there is more length and less diameter, there is increase in the blood pressure. Then viscosity of blood also alters the blood pressure. The venous return, the amount of blood returned to the atrium, right atrium, that is total blood which is given out and return blood at the rate which is the venous return. Then lastly, increase blood pressure. Emotions which alters the blood pressure. Fear, shock, which increases blood pressure. There is one more thing, that is the blood pressure increasing component, that is our hormone called as vasopressin, which increases blood pressure. This vasopressin, which is vasoconstrictor, due to the reduced blood vessel diameter, there is increase in the blood pressure. Then in case of female, what happens? Mostly females are with low blood pressure before the end of menstrual cycle. But when there is stop or end of the menstrual cycle, that condition is called as menopause. There is increase in the blood pressure. Mostly in the male, blood pressure is higher as compared to the females. Means gender also affects the blood pressure. Then which instruments are helpful to measure the blood pressure? This instrument is called as sphygmomanometer, which measures the blood pressure. The measurement of blood pressure, which is nothing but diagnostic tool to detect different disorders or diseases or deviations or malfunctioning of the blood vascular system. This sphygmomanometer normally we are seeing in the hospitals, in the doctor's chamber, which consists of two parts. One is the mercury manometer and another is the inflated rubber back hook. This hook consists of two pipes. One ends with the rubber bulb, another pipe which connects to this mercury manometer. So is the sphygmomanometer, which measures this blood pressure by, or method is called as indirect method. The physician which asks to that patient to sleep on the bed, then which wraps that rubber cup around the upper arm of the left hand, while left hand which is slightly closer to the heart. That's why sleeping position, that means this blood vessel and heart and all vessels are at the or on the same position. So ask to sleep on the bed and then blood pressure is taken. Plus what happens? Which increases air of this rubber cup which was wrapped around the upper arm till blood flow stops. Then slowly, with the help of screw which is present close to the rubber bulb, releases air till first pulsatile sound heard. That pulsatile sound is called as crack of sound. The first sound detected and the first, that is systolic blood pressure is detected or measured and recorded. Then again there is release of air till that heard sound, pulsatile sound stops or not sounds or heard to that physician. That means there is normal blood flow and that blood pressure is recorded, which is nothing but diastolic blood pressure. So this instrument helps to detect the deformities or disorders, diseases, malfunctioning of the heart and blood vascular system. The blood pressure, which is divided into two types, there is hyper or above 120 80 mmHg. If this blood pressure remains above this range, above this 120 mm, that is indication of person goes towards the hypertension. If this hypertension goes above 40-90 mmHg, 40-90 is the threshold of blood pressure, hyper blood pressure or hypertension. If it goes above 180, 120 or above this, then different disorders may be detected in our body, which affects on the kidney functioning, which affects on the retinal blood vessels, which also affects on the blood vessels. Those are supplying blood to the brain. There may be cerebral hemorrhage, which is very dangerous. Hypertension is dangerous. This hypertension, which is due to these different factors, and from this one is the block or clot is present in the arterial blood vessel, which carries blood to the wall of heart, that is coronary artery. Hypertension, we know that if the blood pressure below the 120-80, that is about 90 to 60 mmHg, which is called as hypertension, which is related to the less blood volume or different disorders. This hypertension, which is related with angina pectoris. What happens? Due to the clot present in the blood present in the blood vessel which carries blood to the wall of heart, that is coronary artery. Then what happens if there is exercise? Suppose there is a requirement of more oxygen to the heart, but due to the presence of blood, due to the increased blood pressure, there is a less supply of blood to the wall of heart, and which leads into the paining in the left part of the body, that is in the neck region, in the lower jaw, left lower jaw, in the left shoulder, in the chest. There is paining, severe paining, angina pectoris. If we stop that exertion, chest pains are disappearing. Then about silent heart attack. We know about the heart attack. Heart attack, simply what happens? There is suffocation, increased palpitation, then sweating, that means pressure on the heart. Like these are the normal symptoms of the myocardial infarction or of the heart attack. But there is silent heart attack or silent myocardial infarction, means these normal symptoms are not of that person. But what happens? There are some uneasiness, laziness, but which is nothing but silent heart attack or silent myocardial infarction, which is mostly observed in the male as compared to the female, and which is related to the different tensions, behavioral changes, like this. So, to detect that or to overcome these problems, there is an angiography. Angiography is the graphical representation or graphical imaging of the cardiac, X-ray imaging of cardiac blood vessels. The angio means blood vessel. Blood vessels, those are present in the heart. The X-ray imaging of this blood vessel will supply blood to the heart. And this X-ray imaging to detect the blockage or plug present in that coronary artery. Then solutions on that plug, which is related with amount or size of that plug, If that plug is small, then there is angiography. A metallic stent is sent to that side and blood flow is regulated by increasing the pressing the plug and increasing the blood flow. If the blood plug is large and there is a large reduction of the blood, which leads into the damage to the heart muscles, which leads into the weakening of the heart muscles, then there is bypass surgery. That region which is bypassed and blood vessel which is operated and added, which is collected from another body region, that is angiography. If there is total damage of the heart, then from the brain dead person or from the accidental person where in which heart is working, the heart is transplanted, but which is last stage of that cardiac disorders. To detect these different disorders from the heart or blood vessel system, there is cardiac imaging called as electrocardiogram. The graphic representation of the electrical variations observed when there is working of the heart, that means contraction, relaxation, which is in the millivolt, actually in the millivolt, which is detected with the help of this instrument from our surface of the body. That graphical representation in the form of graph represented on the paper or on the display. That graphic representation is called as electrocardiogram. That means the graphic representation of the electrical variations are created at the time of propagation of the heart from the surface of body. That is electrocardiogram, and the representation is called as electrocardiograph. Actually, this electrocardiogram, which consists of this graph having these waves. This is the P wave, Q, R, S wave and T wave. P wave, which is sharp elevation above the baseline but small, then which goes below the baseline and then which increases in the form of large sharp wave, then again which goes in the upward direction, then slightly below the baseline, then into the wave which is not sharp but small elevation but large. Lengthen. This P wave, which indicates atrial depolarization. This QRS complex indicates ventricular depolarization and T wave repolarization of ventricle. The physician, which can easily detect the deformities observed in the heart with the help of these waves, their time, then height and length of these waves. So this is our electrocardiogram, which easily detects angina pectoris. Then coronary artery disease. Coronary artery disease, which is due to the presence of plug in the coronary artery. That plug is formed from the calcium ions, fibrous material and cholesterol. So coronary artery disease leads to the myocardial infarction. So these are different types of diseases are easily detected with the help of this electrocardiogram, which helps with the survival of that person. And then last point is the lymphatic system. Here we are discussing our blood vascular system, and our lymphatic system is another system. Lymph means here. Lymph consists of all components of blood except RBC, few types of proteins, and blood platelets. This is a clear fluid basically present around the organ systems and tissues and around the blood vessels. The fluid which is present in the surrounding of these cells, which consists of different types of essential as well as non-essential components, and which helps in the exchange of material, middleman between the blood and cells. So this lymph intracellular fluid, which is collected with the help of different types of venules and then opens in the thoracic region with the help of in the thoracic vein, which opens with the help of venules and which helps in the maintenance of our blood volume of our body. So this is about this topic. We are now going to stop this here and stop this discussion. We will discuss afterwards about the questions.